So this first tip to look more handsome is one you've probably heard about, but you've been confused on how to implement. Because it sounds great in theory, but how do you pull it off in the real world? So what handsome man hack am I talking about? Wearing a bold color that suits your skin tone. Now, the expensive way to figure this out is to hire a stylist, meet them in person, and have them determine the colors that suit you. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do it in the next few seconds. First up, check your veins to determine your skin tone. If you've got greenish veins, you're warm toned. Blue veins, you're cool toned. Uncertain or see a bit of both, you're neutral. Now, if you've got a warm undertone, these colors right here are going to complement you like no other. If you've got a cool color tone, these are going to be the colors that you want to go with. The next step here is to add 1 or 2 pieces leveraging these colors. Try the clothing on, see it under real lighting conditions, keep what you want, return what you don't, and finally practice wearing the clothing, let the compliments roll, and add more pieces like this going forward. The reality is most guys are incredibly boring when it comes to color, and by bringing in a unique hue that naturally complements your colors, guys, you're going to instantly stand up from the crowd, level up, you're handsome. The next step here is to layer, paying attention to both texture and contrast. So the combination I have right here, olive green being one of my favorite colors, but notice the texture of the cotton jacket. It's a smooth, tight weave. In fact, it almost has a bit of a sheen to it, which is a striking contrast to the merino wool polo sweater I'm wearing underneath, which has more of a napped, soft surface, as we would expect from knitwear. Because of the difference in textures, what this combination does is it gives the outfit depth. In style, this is a visually attractive combination and it draws people in. Now, contrast is the difference between colors. And in most of the outfits I put together, I should go for a medium contrast. I want to mimic the contrast between my skin and my hair. Now, I have a medium colored skin with semi-dark hair. I actually have a lot of leeway here when it comes to contrast. However, if you've got light colored hair with light colored skin, or if you have light colored skin and you're bald, you really want to be careful about choosing color combinations that can be too overpowering. For you, when it comes to clothing, I'm going to recommend muted color combinations. Example, notice the jacket change up. All of a sudden, we've got less contrast. We still have some, but it's not as overpowering as that darker colored jacket with lighter colored garment underneath. Oh, and by the way, a bonus, leather is one of the most masculine fabrics out there. I'm sorry I misspoke. Materials out there, leather isn't a fabric, but there are tons of studies out there that show both women and men consider the leather jacket one of the most masculine and attractive garments that a person can wear. But like with any garment, especially a jacket, you need to make sure it fits. Poor fitted clothing does nothing for your level of handsomeness except bring it down. Well, speaking of handsome, now I think it's the perfect time to introduce you to today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. So one of the keys to looking good is taking care of your face, taking care of your skin, having a skincare routine. And gents, that's why I love Tiege Hanley. They make taking care of your skin, looking good, uncomplicated. When you go over to Tiege Hanley and you grab their level 1 essential routine, what you're going to have delivered to your door is everything you need to implement your new skincare routine, which is step number 1, you start with a face wash. Now, twice a day, morning and night, you want to be washing your face. You don't want to be using a bar of soap. That's way too harsh. No, a specialty made daily face wash, and in 10 to 15 seconds of washing, you can remove all the dirt, sediment, grime that builds up over the day or over the night, and it rinses off cleanly with warm water. Now, step 2, and this is usually only a couple times a week, you want to use an exfoliating scrub. And this is going to help with a deeper cleaning, remove dead skin, and again, use warm water to rinse it off in a matter of seconds. Now, after you've washed and perhaps exfoliated, you got step 3, applying your moisturizer. Now, if it's first thing in the morning, you want to use their AM moisturizer, which is designed to last all day. And also what I love, it's got an SPF sunscreen in it as well, which as many of you guys know, if you want to keep your skin looking good, you got to protect it from the risk of UV sun damage. And after you wash at night, you want to then use the PM moisturizer. And it's made to penetrate and moisturize a little bit deeper overnight. That being said, if you need a bit more, you're starting to get crow's feet, you have dark circles under the eyes, then you want to check out their level 2 advanced routine. This comes with everything in level 1 plus their eye cream. Well, level 3 comes with everything that was in level 2 plus their super serum, which helps reduce the fine lines that appear with age. And finally, if you want everything, check out their level 4. It comes with everything that was in level 3 plus their clay mask to deeply cleanse pores. Again, gents, if you want to try Tiege Hanley, use the link in the description of today's video. I've got the best deal on the web for you. Guys, you will save 40% on your first box and you'll get a free gift worth $20 you can choose between the silicone body scrubber or a really handy and useful nail kit. And gents, I got to thank Tiege for the reminder on the next point, which is take care of your nails. Now, to me, this seems obvious, but when I go into Reddit and I do my research, I am always amazed at how many women are complaining that the man that they're dating has horrible nails. Or we're dating, because these women are pretty clear. Those fingers are not going near me. Now, gents, I'm not saying you got to go out there and get a manicure, but it's not a bad idea, because whenever you pay money and you take care of parts of your body, guess what? You're going to make sure you're not chewing on your nails and they're going to look good. And for a lot of guys, their toenails. That pedicure, guys, if your toenails look that bad, treat yourself. It's almost like a massage. And with summer coming up, with sandal weather, yeah, you can look great. You can spend all that time in the gym. But if you've got claws down there, yeah, you are going to scare people away. I mean, seriously, I'm trying to think of a reason why you would want to have claws. Maybe like you're wolf man or you're hunting down larger animals and just pull it. Yeah, there's no reason. Now, this next one, especially for the older guys out there, may sound really superficial, but be able to put on a camera face. I know just over a decade ago, you used to laugh at people that put a lot of time and thought into taking pictures, especially of themselves. They were called narcissists. But the reality is nowadays, our pictures, they go under our profile. In many cases, this is our calling card. And you don't need to go extreme here. Just know a few basic things. Like pay attention to where's the light coming from. Photography actually means painting with light. So when you're taking a picture of yourself or maybe with others, turn yourself in a way that the light is flattering. Another thing to consider, the angle. Usually raising up the camera is going to give you a better angle and turning a person to their side. For most people, this slims them up and it'll give you a better shot profile. And speaking of which, now that you got some better pictures, update your social media pics. When you go out there and meet people, guess what? They're doing some research on you. They're Googling you. With AI and all the other tools out there, really, guys, there's no excuse for not having a good-looking profile photo. Now, this next one is the most powerful tip, and I got to give you a little bit of context. So my buddy Will, I remember we were in our 20s and he was losing his hair, and he just decided to shave his head. Yeah, he could have tried to save it, but we were in the military. He didn't want to bother with it. He just went with that shaved head look. And he was really worried. He thought it was going to make him less attractive, that women wouldn't like it. Well, it turned out it was the complete opposite. And to be honest, we didn't understand it at the time. All I noticed is that every time we went out, some random woman would put her hands on his head and start talking to him. Well, it turns out years later, I read some research on this, and it's funny, it applies to business, but it's basically the phenomenon of embracing uniqueness, not trying to be better than others, but basically embracing who you are and being the only. The reality is most women out there probably don't find bald men that attractive, but the few that do, that small percentage, they find them really attractive. It's the same thing with large noses, with scars, with beards, with guys that dress like bikers, with military guys, with goths. When you decide to take a stand, you're confident in your uniqueness. You stop playing in the middle ground. You're no longer trying to please everybody. No, you're going after a small subset that actually loves that look so much, they are going to take action, walk across the room, and introduce themselves. So gents, no matter who you are, no matter what your look, no matter what your age, understand if you're confident in who you are and you embrace that, gents, that's a secret weapon that very few men ever reach. And guys, if you can do this, you could leverage it to your advantage and be the most handsome man in the room, at least to a small percentage of the people in that room. But the funny thing is, oftentimes, that's all that matters. Now, the next tip to be more attractive, be more handsome, is to shut up and listen. Now, you need to show that you're listening, nod the head, maybe mirror the person. That's a very powerful technique. Repeat back to them a few things that they're saying. Maybe do it in a way that you're asking a clarifying question, repeating back what they said. And of course, if you've just met that person, say their name. Repeat their name. Not only is this going to help you remember it, which is very attractive, but people love the sound of their name. And people love a good listener. People like it when somebody's interested in them. It makes you more attractive. But the key here, guys, is you got to show it. Again, even if you're doing that head nodding, you got to show that you're listening to her. I saw a woman complaining on Reddit that she didn't think her husband was listening. He just simply was standing there like an inanimate object. Now, building off that last point, let's talk about being able to speak clearly. So I was reading about this introvert. He was in college and it was just very difficult for him to speak up. So what he did is he recorded himself asking the questions he wanted to ask the professor. Now, when he watched his own recordings, yes, they were a bit painful, but he knew the questions he was going to ask. He knew that he was going to speak relatively clearly, and he did this throughout the semester. Well, not only did he get an A, but the professor thought highly of him for asking such good, detailed questions and having the courage to do so. But funny enough, there was a girl in this class that noticed him, and he had noticed her, but, thought she was out of his league. Well, they were at a party. She came up and spoke to him because she needed help, and he was amazed that, yeah, she knew who he was. Well, she was like, yeah, you're the guy that asked those really great questions, has the courage to speak up. Again, having her come up to him, that was bonus. But the key here is to improve the way that you speak. And one of the best ways to do it, I know it helps me, is recording yourself. Watch those recordings. They're not going to lie to you. Maybe they're painful to watch, but watch them by yourself and just say, you know what? I can improve. I can step up. I can maybe get rid of filler words. I can eliminate crutch words, and I can work on my pronunciation and getting my point across. Next up, let's talk about posture. Simply stand up straight, roll the shoulders back, Maybe work out first thing in the morning. I find for me, when I exercise in the morning, especially cardio, all of a sudden I've got the blood, I've got the endorphins going through the body pretty much the entire day. But because I'm usually now rowing or maybe doing some presses, I also stand up straighter. You just feel better and people take note, especially when you're not doing the opposite, which is slouching over and just walking around with your head down. And speaking of walking, when you enter a room, if you want to come off as more attractive, you're entering a party, walk in like you own the place. Now, you just want to do your first pass. You don't want to stop. You don't want to go hide in a corner. You don't want to take up a smaller amount of space and kind of condense yourself down. No, stand up, roll those shoulders back, and just do a circle. Check the place out. If it's a work event, a networking event, most likely there are going to be drinks, there's going to be food. So go ahead and just make your way to the bar or to the food. If it's a party, then walk around, look for somebody that you know. If you don't know anyone, then start talking to somebody maybe that's standing around looking like that they need someone to speak with them. You don't need to say much, just start the conversation. Hey, how you doing? Who you here with? What's going on? What time's this party going till? Keep it simple, but you want to start the conversation. You don't want to be that lone wolf hanging out in the corner. Nobody finds that attractive. They're attracted to the person that can go in there and mix. And through that interaction shows that they are socially accepted. Now for my next point, I'm going to direct you over to this video because I realized I had like 15 more points I could have covered in this video. Maybe I'll make a part 2, but I know I have covered a lot of it in other videos. And yeah, check this one out. I don't repeat myself. A lot of the points in here are very different. Boom, right there.